Okay, this is the trade recap for today. So first I'm gonna go over all the bias and then the trade that I took, and then I'm gonna go review the other trades. So starting with the high time frame, we're in this really high time frame, really bad high time frame consolidation. So you can see where all this bad price action is coming from because we don't have any clear trend. So hopefully, honestly, we need to get some better price action and some better clear trends. But you can see that we've been delivering from this sell side area over here and delivering bullish. So my overall bias on the high time frame was bullish, but just like yesterday, I was short-term bearish. But let's go over the trade that I took. Okay. Here. So I have a lot of notes on this. So basically what we do off open is we just rip up. First, we tap into this 15-minute gap, which I'll recap in a second of this trade here. But going into the trade that I took was a continuation off of the 5-minute gap. We hit the 15-minute, we create a continuation gap of the 5-minute in this 1-minute IFVG, targeting these highs here. So that's basically what the trade idea is off of. We have our stop point here, we have our highest time frame inversion right here. Oops. And our drawn liquidity is previous day high. So what's good about it is that we have a stop hunt, we have strong displacement, we have a sponsored gap, and we have previous day high above. What's also good about it is we have 10 a.m. and 10:15 time discount. So you can see 10:15 manipulates lower to take out this low, and 10 o'clock opening prices over here, which we are under. But let's talk about the bad things. This was not a good setup. This lost for a very obvious reason, which I did not know in the beginning. But first we're going to talk about the weak structure and the choppy trading, during accumulation. So you can see right here, we're kind of just accumulating. I'm taking a trade during the accumulation, which is not a good idea. We also have this weak structure. I consider this low resistance liquidity, but it doesn't really have the good structure that I like. I usually want some structure just really obvious like that. But in this time we had some, it just looked like more of a downtrend type of slanted highs, downtrend type of highs, not really like some low resistance. Another thing we had that was not very good was a bearish SMT at Asia highs. So I don't really use Asia highs too much, but you can see if we look on the higher time frame, we did have this 15-minute gap with a high resting with Asia here, which we do end up sweeping out and delivering lower. And we had SMT there, which I knew about, but it didn't really fade my conviction because we inversed the hourly on NQ. But something I should take in consideration, especially looking at the reaction that we had off of it. So we had an 84%, oh my goodness, 84-point rejection wick, showing that we were reacting off of this 15-minute gap / Asia high. So this is our 15-minute, and we had 82 points, showing I should have known that this is now high resistance. This is swept liquidity. We're not going to return back to this high. We showed that we swept this and we reacted off of it as the wicks do the damage and the bodies tell the story. You can see that we clearly reacted off this and want to continue lower. Another thing is ES did not inverse the hourly gap, so we can still flip bullish because that means ES is in a spot of distribution to take bearish distribution. So if we look on ES here, over here, we can see this is 10 o'clock. We did not disrespect this gap. NQ closed above here, but ES is still reacting off of this gap with a huge rejection wick, with an on top of it put with the SMT. Definitely not the best thing to be longing with. Okay, then What else we have is the 2 minute was holding. So up here we can see we have a 2 minute gap here, which was my break-even point. You can see that we tapped into it multiple times and we do not distribute off of that. So that means that if we were truly bullish, this 5 minute gap should be respected and we should have inversed it on the 2 minute, but instead we created a new leg and inversed it on the 1 minute, which I should have waited for the 2 minute to make it more obvious. And just a mistake by myself that I haven't really been put into, so I wasn't sure how to play it, but I thought this was a good move. And another thing was that the 2 minute gap was beating the 5 minute gap, so you can see we're respecting this 2 minute, but this 5 minute gap is not really holding too well. So since we already have that put in the SMT respecting a 2 minute gap against the 5 minute gap, we also have reason to go lower, which is the 4-hour unmitigated gap and high time frame low resistance liquidity. Then it's just not a good spot to be in. We also have ES looking super bearish. As you can see, we did not inverse the gap, so we are still holding bullish, and we have the 4-hour unmitigated gap still lower, which is not good. Obviously, we're targeting high resistance, so we should not be returning to high resistance. Also, to premium, I don't think this is like the biggest thing. It's just like something else to consider as well. We also didn't have the best reaction off the 5 minute. As you can see, we're just chopping around here. It should just be like one candle up and inverse that 2 minute, and that would have been better. But instead, we chop around here for multiple 2 minute and 1 minute candles. So it's just not really good to be trying to log from a gap that doesn't really hold any significance. We also have, as targets, we have these really weak structure, low resistance, but we also don't have a gap that we're reacting off of, or a gap to have our drawn liquidity. We have a higher gap above here, but usually I like to have like a 15-minute here or an hourly high time frame gap near that I can target just as a magnet in price, because targeting just liquidity isn't really the best thing to do. And obviously we have the huge rejection wick signaling that bullish market structure is slowing down, so that this 5 minute isn't going to be as strong as this 15 minute, because we're bouncing off this 15 minute and we're protecting it with the 5 minute gap, which obviously gets inversed later on. And yeah, so that's pretty much the recap of this trade. I rated it like a C or B. I didn't really like it, but at least I learned from the loss. And let's go to the next trade. This is the second trade of the day that I did not take, but this was a good trade, and I'll tell you why, and why it was or wasn't a good trade. First of all, we can see that we're clearly bullish. We can see that we're opening up here. 930 opens up higher. We have this 15-minute gap as a condition that we can either respect it or disrespect it and aim for the lows here. And this idea is off a 4-minute IFG after tapping into a 15-minute gap, targeting Asia highs and 930 wicks. So what's good about this is that we have strong displacement. We also have a really good close, a 40-point close. We completely disrespect this gap. We have insane displacement. We have almost no rejection wick here, and the body is just telling us that we want to go up. We also have a clear drawn liquidity. You can see that we're obviously going to here. If we're bullish, we're going to tap these Asia highs. If we're bearish, we're going to tap these to get a short off of it. And we also have 930, 945 time discount. So you can see this is 930 opening. So you can see that we go under the opening price, and we also go under 945 opening price over here, creating a time discount and the manipulation of 945 and 930. The two things that are bad about it is that we have no stop hunt, which is more catered to my model. A stop hunt is just another resweep of a swing low, which we did not have in this, and which was not really my biggest problem about this trade. It was mainly that we were entering at 10 a.m. You can see that entering at a high time frame candle like 10 a.m. can often manipulate lower. So that's like the main reason that I didn't take this, because a lot of the times if you take a trade at 10 a.m. we can manipulate lower and take your stop loss up. Yeah, so those are the two trades. There were some other short trades that I didn't really like, so I'm not going to recap those.